The government still hasn't decided whether to let Pharmac and ACC chair Steve Mahari keep his job after he breached a code of conduct by publicly expressing political opinions, much like the sacked health boss Rob Campbell.
It comes as Newshub can reveal the government isn't adhering to its self-imposed public sector pay freeze. Here's political editor Jenna Lynch.
Freshly fired and still fired up.
The public service is intent on neutering itself.
Rob Campbell neutered by the government, given the sack from his roles as chair of Te Whatu Ora Health New Zealand and the Environmental Protection Authority for expressing political opinion.
I had lost confidence on him.
A very different treatment to former Labour Minister and current Pharmac, ACC and Education NZ Chair Steve Mahari.
Well, I guess he's on more friendly terms with some of the government ministers, but I hasten to say, I don't think he should be sacked either.
Public service bosses are bound by political neutrality clauses in a code of conduct. Mahari writes a column for Stuff commenting on politics, but the health minister, who sacked Campbell, has so far decided to let Mahari's offence fly.
With Mr Campbell, he called the leader of the opposition stupid and he implied his policies were racist. And while he apologised to me, he then doubled down on those criticisms in the press. Mr Mahari has reached out and been contrite.
So I did try to express contrition, but they didn't want to listen.
Did Steve Mahari offer you his resignation? Yes or no?
Yes.
He did. And you didn't accept it?
There's a process to go through with.
National says Mahari has got to go.
The principle's the same between Rob Campbell and Steve Mahari. The only difference is that Chris Hipkins worked for him and they have a deep relationship.
And they want the public service cleared out of consultants too, promising no more working groups.
I can't see a reason for us to have working groups.
Well, maybe just a few.
We might have, some working groups.
Consultant use has been on the rise, with some people pointing to the public sector pay freeze as a reason. People can earn more as consultants than they can directly working for the government. Since 2020, pay rises for public servants earning more than $100,000 have been banned, except for in exceptional circumstances. In April, Newshub uncovered that thousands of high-salaried public servants had got pay rises despite the pay freeze, and now we can reveal that practice hasn't changed.
From April to November, a further 427 high-paid public servants got a pay rise. They included 89 Ministry of Social Development staff, 51 Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority staff, and 42 Inland Revenue staff. And get this, the Public Service Commission, the agency that issues the pay guidance, gave 5 of its staff earning more than $100,000 a pay rise.
This was their one big commitment to saving taxpayers' money, and they couldn't even keep that one.
Are you happy with the adherence to that pay restraint advice?
In the main, yes.
The 427 rises, perhaps outside the main.
So Jenna, is Steve Mahari safe?
All signs point to yes, this was a breach of the code of conduct, but one key difference between Mahari and Campbell, other than contrition, that might come into play is that Mahari hadn't been warned about his behaviour before, whereas Rob Campbell was a repeat offender with basically a promise that he was going to keep offending. On those pay rises, I've just received an official statement through from the Public Services Commissioner who says there was always scope for pay rises in exceptional circumstances, citing reasons like closing gender or ethnic pay gaps. Now, I am hearing that the pay restraint policy or pay freeze was reviewed at the end of last year. It's currently out for consultation. Newshub understands that there will be new public sector pay guidance issued very shortly, and that likely spells the end of the public sector pay freeze.
Political editor Jenna Lynch, tēnā koe.